Say her name. Black Lives Matter. Justice. Keep fighting.
Joining me now to continue the conversation on the Black American experience in law enforcement, Layshia Clarendon of the New York Liberty, Natasha Cloud of the Washington Mystics, and Brianna Turner of the Phoenix Mercury. Thank you all for taking time to join us. What have your personal experiences been like with regards to law enforcement?
The scariest moment was when this white police officer was approaching my car in a crouched position with his hand already over his holster. Immediately, my first thought is, this is how I'm going to die. A block away from my apartment, not doing anything wrong, just coming back from shooting. This is it. And he forcefully asked me for my license and registration, in which one was in my glove compartment, one was in my middle console. So the fear of reaching for anything, taps in. So hands still at 10 and 2. Can I reach for my middle console and for my glove compartment? And the first thing he asked was, do you have weapons on you? I don't have any weapons in my car. Again, I'm 27, I'm by myself. At this point, I'm saying I'm a Washington Mystics player. I'm coming from the gym 5 minutes down the road, and he gave me a ticket for the tint on my car. So I took it, I appealed it, I went into court because I wanted the judge to know how he approached me. Luckily, I had a minority woman as a judge, and she laid into his ass during that day.
Both my parents are police officers, so growing up, I literally lived, breathed, ate with officers every single night. So, I grew up knowing that there was obviously good ones, but just watching the news and knowing that there are bad ones as well. When I turned 16, I got the infamous talk, and that was the same year as Trayvon Martin's case, and there was just so much going on. I was 16, and for me to have parents that are literally officers, but still felt the need to give me the talk shows that everyone can be vulnerable to the situation.
Can I ask, was there something specific to your talk that your parents told you? Was it tell them your parents are police officers, show them our badge numbers, say you live in this neighborhood? Was there anything that they gave you that was maybe different that maybe a family who didn't have cops would give their kids?
Don't do anything that might infuriate or upset them for me to physically get harmed. Just always make sure literally listen. If they tell you to touch your toes and do 10 jumping jacks, do it. Listen to what they say. And know that if you end up in jail, we'll come get you, no questions asked, but obviously put your safety first and know that you need to have the utmost respect so you don't trigger or upset them at all.
What are your suggestions on how we can improve interactions with the community and police force? Where do you start?
I'm a big proponent. I think it starts with defunding the police, divesting, whatever word you want to use. It's defunding. Because I know people get wrapped up in that word. It's become the new, let's argue about the flag and not the point of why Colin knelt. I think it starts about defunding, divesting from the police and putting more money and resources in our communities. And then the other side of it, which I'm more on the defund the police, eventually abolish the police, because it's a very, I think, deeply rotten system. I think people talk about good and bad apples, but I think the tree itself is rotten because what it's built on has been really bad soil. I think it's defunding the police and investing more within our communities so we have better mental health access and resources. So there is a phone number to call. What happens when my friend, my wife, I have a mental health crisis? Who do I call? And that's one of the things we've seen a ton is when we have these struggles as people, we don't have anywhere else to turn, and we need some other way to have better interactions in our society that aren't met with brutality and violence.
There's so many schools just around here in Philadelphia in the city that don't have counselors, that don't have nurses. And it's insane to me, but we are giving our police departments $20 million stipends or whatever it may be.
I think that we should find a way to end qualified immunity. I really think that we should look into, along with investing more into communities and divesting from police officers, I think we should also just end qualified immunity so we can actually charge these officers in a timely manner instead of waiting months, years, however long it may be for justice to somewhat be served.
Black lives matter! Black lives matter! Black lives matter!
Say her name! Say his name! George Floyd!
Black women have often been the most vulnerable and unprotected group of victims when it comes to police brutality. Sandra Bland, Breonna Taylor, and the WNBA made the decision to dedicate this season to the women that have been victims of police violence through the Say Her Name campaign. Why?
It was such a natural alignment to go with Say Her Name because we know what it's like to be Black women. We know what it's like to be forgotten in sports, in culture, in the spaces where we're fighting daily for more recognition. We're fighting daily to get our names said as well, like in the larger space of sports and the legitimacy of sports. On the way, it was such a natural like synergy of like, we get it, we know what it's like to be forgotten. And then like everyone said here, we are those women. Black women are the ones marching, we're organizing, we're getting people. And then a Black woman's murdered, we're like, who's marching, who's organizing, who's doing it?
What is the one message that you hope people heard from the WNBA this summer?
We know that there's going to be another instance. We know that there's going to be another George Floyd and Breonna Taylor, and that sucks to feel that and to know that. And so for me, that no justice, no peace has been that motivating factor. And why we continue to fight, why we continue to use our God-given platforms to shed light, to be a voice for the voiceless. Get out and vote, especially our Black community. We need to take back the power in our voice and our voting, and we need to show up